Well, good afternoon. Thank you for coming along today. So we are the Who Cares podcast, and today we're talking about international recruitment with Jeffrey from Devon Care Homes Collaborative. And do you want to introduce yourself?
My name's Emily Winslow and I'm from the Devon Alliance for International Recruitment.
And I asked you to that because I couldn't remember your title. So there we are.
Not my
so
name.
we wanted to really touch on today about people that have come to the UK to work for care, be it the NHS or social care or whatever, and they've unfortunately lost their licence through their company having a revocation. And what happens with that? So what we do know is we're seeing lots of companies that are losing their licence. We're seeing a large amount of people coming to you, particularly as the Devon Alliance, saying, we need help. We're in our 60 days. What can we do? So there's some key factors there. I know on previous podcasts you've spoken about those. Do you want to just run through those quickly?
So we're there as a support basically to care workers fundamentally, and then to providers. So we are kind of like the link between care workers that have been unfortunately who've lost their sponsorship, and providers who have vacancies and sponsorship opportunities. So what happens when a care worker loses their sponsorship is that they basically receive an email or a letter from the UKVI saying they've got 60 days to find another sponsorship.
And that's not long, is it? 60 days?
It's not long at all, no. And it's, there's a lot to do in that 60-day period. You've got to link them in with other providers. There's got to be an interview process. There's, all of that stuff takes time, as we all know. So we have to act quite quickly. So a care worker would come to us and say, this is my CV. These are my, these are my training certificates. This is my English language certificate. Can you help me find another sponsorship? And then we would, we work with providers. We signpost the care workers to providers who we know they've got a license and we know they've got vacancies.
But that's really quite difficult for you, isn't it? Because like for myself, UK. We go on Indeed and we advertise, and Jeffrey, you've got about 25% or something, did you say, of international recruits who work for you, and again you advertise and people come to you directly. But for you it's really tricky, isn't it, because you've got these international recruits coming to you and saying please help, but you don't really know who's looking, who's got some causes available, who's got some certificate of sponsorship available, and who wants to employ locally. So what would be really helpful for you?
So, as you said, we've got a large number of care workers now in the UK that don't have a job. We've got some really talented, lovely care workers who we want to keep hold of, basically. We want to keep them in, we've got hundreds and thousands of vacancies in the social care sector. Let's fill them with people that are here already.
In the country.
Yeah. We've had great success recently with a local care provider who needed care workers with learning disability background.
Yeah.
And we managed to find 5 who had fantastic experience. They were lovely people, and they've all been offered sponsorship now. So there are real success stories here.
But we need to know.
We need to know where the vacancies are. We need providers to contact us and let us know that they've got vacancies, what they're looking for. And we can help fill those vacancies.
And I think it's both ways, isn't it? So we often hear of international recruits and they've had a bad time. And we've also had providers who have had a bad time the other way around. But I think what's really key here, and Jeffrey, you touched on it on a different podcast, didn't you? You've had some really great results, some fantastic people who work for you internationally.
So, yes, it was recruiting more recently post the Brexit days. It was a leap of faith into recruiting abroad again, which we hadn't done since 2004 or so. And we went down the senior care route, and we decided to make a decision to recruit people who are qualified as nurses initially, but then that changed when the senior care route was opened up to the care worker route. And we thought that might be more complex, but we were recruiting people with no care experience, and this is what we've got to work with. And we have had just amazing experience from people who are either qualified as nurses or not, being qualified as engineers, or done psychology, or done chemistry or something, or education, all sorts of different things, but have come to the UK to build a better life for themselves, a family, or their young people sometimes on their own, and they're really keen, and that's what we need. So, from our perspective, you mentioned that hundreds of thousands of vacancies. Every care provider pretty much is recruiting quite often, and the longevity in social care is not where we'd like it to be. But we're lucky with our workforce. We have good length of service, and maybe that's back in the trend, and we're trying to work hard to make sure it stays that way or improve that. But the people we had from abroad have added nothing but richness and heart and soul to our workforce, and they were pretty damn good.
And we've had the
as
same.
it was.
We've had the same. So with Unicare, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we've had some that we've had disagreements with, but in general, they're amazing people. They really want to work hard, and they want to embrace our culture as well. And I think they brought a lot of culture to us and really taught us a few things. So from my point of view, what I really want to try and get across, and I think you reiterate, is if you've had a problem, don't let it put you off, because most people that are here want to work hard.
I would say if you're here and your experience in working in social care for a employer hasn't worked out, or they've lost their licence, there are people like Emily who are here to help. And I have to say, having attended, like you do, John, hundreds of webinars over recent times, the strength of goodwill, support, intention, caring that is there from people like yourselves, the local authorities, the NHS, to do everything they can to support the people who are here, find themselves displaced, is really strong.
It's really they're right behind
and if people are feeling nervous because they've had a bad experience, I'd say, well, try to put that to one side for now, and put your, because every local authority is very vested in supporting people who are displaced to the best of their ability, and they can really care.
Absolutely.
And our sector, our elderly and our people that need the care are really reliant now, aren't they, on international recruits to top up our system. I mean, without them, we'd be in a real big problem now, wouldn't we? I mean, certainly Unicare, if we didn't have our international recruits, we would be really struggling as a recruiter and as an employer. I think it's key, isn't it, to make sure you just, like you said before about compliance, understand the compliance, understand from the provider, the carer's position, what they need, and if you do lose your license, it's revoked, prompt the staff to contact you guys and the companies like ourselves. If we've got spaces and we've got causes available, contact you as well, because it's really easy then for you to help, isn't it?
Absolutely. And if you just want to have if you're apprehensive and you have had a bad experience or whatever, just reach out and have a conversation with us about it, and hear some of the amazing success stories. We can guide you through the process. We can help you with the the SMS system, which isn't particularly easy if you're new to it. Well, you just reach out. We've got some amazing people.
And you are pro at the SMS system now, aren't you? You are very good. I mean, I sit there and go, oh God, and you're like, no, John, it's easy. You know how to do it.
I don't mind it at all. But
I'll just add one thing. I think we have had some people who've approached us directly, who've been displaced from a care home or domiciliary care agency up the road. Not one of yours, John, I'm going to say, but and they've had something very strange about the whole recruitment process, and I'm don't want to cast aspersions, but I don't think all the intentions were good. If people have had a bad experience, don't be put off, because that's not the majority of people who are really want to do a good job, want to look after their team members, and are really keen to take on new team members. And everyone we've had, I mean, there's been the odd one or two, but that's about it, who haven't settled, it hasn't worked out. But if I compare that against the Indigenous workforce, well, that's not uncommon. So we can allow for that. We have seen some amazing people, and I think it's incumbent upon us to work diligently as employers for people who've come from another country. We've done that for a long time through Europe, the EU, and before that with international recruitment as well. So maybe we've have a bit more experience in doing that, so it doesn't seem perhaps quite so daunting. But I just, if people are displaced and anxious, I'd say put your reservations to one side and the bad experience, because we have had people who are currently working for us and loving working for us, and they are gushing with enthusiasm, have had horrendous experience. And in training, people have come up to me and said, "Oh, Mr. Cox, I used to work with so-and-so, and it wasn't..." I said, "I know all about that. Your manager's told me." It's harrowing.
Yeah.
And they've joined us and settled hopefully a very close team. And that's what we've got to be good at. All employees got to be better at doing that today.
But I also think there's a benefit, isn't there, to working as a collaborative in Devon. You know, if we work together, there's some real benefits in there. One, the displaced people get referred, because you're not a matching service. We've got to be really clear. You're not a recruitment service or a matching service. This is about referring, isn't it? And so, actually, I know that, Jeffrey, you've got some causes. Why don't you two talk?
Yeah.
And up to you what you do after that. There's no charge. It's just let's help out. But also, from an employer's point of view, I spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on Indeed every month, and I get lots and lots of nonsense. And actually, what I could be doing is spending a little bit on Indeed to try and get local people, but also offering them out to yourselves, going that if you know anybody, can you get in touch?
Yeah.
And save that money. And every penny's counting, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah. There is an expectation on us to recruit, locally, indiscriminately, as well as recruiting from abroad, and to have a good balance and to integrate our workforce, so that all streams need to be fully firing, as it were, and so we need to have open doors on every aspect.
Absolutely, and I don't think this is just. It's not just a Devon issue. This is a UK-wide issue. We should all be collaborating. We're contacted by care workers from all over the UK that are in exactly the same situation, and our focus is very much Devon, obviously, because that's where we work. But we need to be working collaboratively right across the UK. It's the same issue everywhere.
I think so, and we work obviously together quite a lot around international recruitment, and we are seeing a real disparity, aren't we, between even our neighbouring counties, where they're doing one thing, we're doing another. And it feels like it's just not needed. Yeah. We could pull together, couldn't we, and go in one direction? And hopefully that will change.
Yeah, I hope so.
But in the meantime, it's really key, isn't it, that people like Jeffrey and I keep doing what we're doing. Yeah. But when we've got some sort of vacancies and causes available, just to let you know somehow, so they can contact you through info360.org.uk.
Info360, or
they can contact you directly.
Yes.
And how do they do that?
They can look at our website, which is devon-alliance.com, and all of our email addresses are on there. So that's probably the easiest way of getting in touch.
And you are all over social media, aren't you?
We're all over social media. Yeah.
Facebook.
Devon Alliance.
And
so, yeah.
Are you on Instagram as well?
We're on Instagram, we're on everything.
Oh, you're on everything!
TikTok
and actually,
even.
Didn't you have like 400 followers or something?
Or
thousands of followers.
Yeah.
Oh, look, they're famous. We're in royalty.
So no,
now.
just get in touch and let us know your vacancies and let us help you. That's all I can say really. We're as you say, we're signposting, but we're supporting at both ends. We're supporting providers, but we're supporting care workers, whether that's with updating their CVs, giving them interview techniques. We're just trying to make it work. And
we don't want to see people homeless too. We don't want to see people with no work and no money and completely stuck in the UK.
Yeah.
I think to be fair to some providers, and I'm clear myself in that when people like yourself may approach providers, I don't know, but a lot of people approach providers about a lot of things.
Yes.
All of the time, and I think there is a risk of weariness in the sector. Maybe the front lines who answer the phone are used to screening things because everyone is working under pressure. I think it's just a question of us opening our doors a little bit more, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think from a provider's point of view, like you say, we get absolutely bombarded, don't we? But this is a really trusted professional team that's supported by the NHS and ADAS and the local authorities. And it's been co-designed. Yeah. What you're doing is co-designed, isn't it, as a team? It's not just you guys going, do you know what, we're going to do this.
No.
It's been thought out as a process, and it really is there to support the sector and those who have been sort of left in the lurch with no sponsorship.
Yeah, and I think just to add to what you're saying, I can't speak for other councils beyond Plymouth and Devon and Torbay perhaps, but through your organisation, the local authority, and especially in Devon, they really do care. They want to support people. It's not all about sorting this problem or that problem. It is come from genuine caring, in my perspective, from what I've observed.
Yep, absolutely. That's right. We care about the people. It's not just a black and white process. Every individual is different. Every situation is different, and the landscape has changed vastly in the last couple of years in international recruitment.
Last couple of months. It's crazy, isn't it, how it changes?
But this is a very real problem now, is that we have got people in the UK living in poverty that can help our social care sector, if they're just given the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I think that sort of wraps it up, guys, doesn't it? Thank you so much for talking about this, and hopefully the providers will come and give you a nudge and say, we have these causes available and we do want it in this area, and you can signpost each other and move it on.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you very much. As always, thank you.
Thank you both. Thanks.